trade shows have a unique combination of benefits that no other medium offers. First of all, it's non-intrusive. It's permission marketing the visitors have chosen. Secondly, you have a chance not just to talk and promote and present, but to listen. And few people recognize this, but it's an enormous opportunity to listen to your marketplace and address unmet needs in the future. In other words, you're doing face-to-face market research, and also to see what your competitors are doing. Thirdly, it's person to person. It's people. It's actually people who you make contact with. Good long-term business relationships are built on people. Number 4 is you can measure everything. People say to me, well, I want to raise my brand profile. How do I measure that? There are ways of doing it. We do it all the time for customers. Who had heard of you before you went into the show? Who had heard of you when you went out of the show? Who knew what you were doing before they went onto your stand? What will they now do or stop doing when they come off the stand? And brand profile raising and messaging is physical. It's real. And the 5th benefit is that it's a total experience. You're delivering a total experience of your organization, not just your products and your services, but your values, your priorities, your philosophy, your passion. And this transmits in the way that you build your stand and run it. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people don't recognize this because it's almost like a bit of theater. A trade show is showbiz, and you have to have it all prepared, planned, scripted, rehearsed, and performed. You have a chance to do real-time market intelligence gathering in a structured way, and you can bring back the results of that in market research and create your new marketing plan, and you can also generate PR survey reports from it. There's another, I think, very good one, which is if you bring all your staff in at the beginning of the planning process, rather than being reluctant to be there and out of their comfort zone, they will get new belief in themselves and in the business they're working for, because you'll be looking at every aspect of the business. So there's another potential benefit, which is to remotivate your own staff. There are the obvious ones, the opportunity to recruit new people, the opportunity to introduce new stuff to existing customers, the opportunity to enhance relationships with channels, distributors or people who are doing business on your behalf. And yeah, it has to be said, I'm afraid, that being there does, especially in recessions, it makes people realize that you are serious. Sometimes the bigger exhibitors get flabby and lumbering. The smaller companies can hijack a show with something very clever, very tricky. You've just got to do some thinking. And of course, because the audience is there, because a high quality of the buyers are there, all you have to do is stand out from the crowd, and you can't help but attract some really interesting people. Don't do the ordinary. Don't do the usual freebies and leaflets and just like everybody else. Just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean it's right. I think you have to have a little psychology. People are curious. And if you have a wide-open see-through stand with people handing out leaflets and the usual reps, you're just going to look like everyone else. We have a number of principles, 3 principles. Number 1 is don't give out any leaflets. They end up in the bin more often than not. Even if people do take the leaflets back, when you ring to follow up the lead, they tend to say, no, I've got your leaflet here. I don't need to see you. I'll ring you when I need you. Don't have a wide-open stand. Have a stand that people have to work at. You need a greeter at the front to prompt you and welcome you. But when people can't exactly see what's going on inside, their curiosity takes over. You get a much better result. Plus, you can qualify the people coming in. You can keep your competitors out. You can keep people who are trying to sell to you out. There's a lot to be said for controlled access. And thirdly, don't just assume that your salespeople are brilliant on exhibition stands. They're good managing accounts. They're not necessarily good going out and meeting new people that they've never met before. It takes a very special skill set to do that. Your own salespeople can be out of their comfort zone. Better to hire in professionals, even scripted actors, to, as it were, qualify and then present, and then hand over to the salespeople. But the greeting, the meeting, the ice-breaking is a very specialist job, and don't assume that your own staff can do it. You can't do a stand with less than 3 people on it. Do it properly, allocate an amount of money, or if you can't afford that, their objectives is to gather market information, yeah, you get it there and then. If one of their objectives is to test whether people understand their messaging, yes, you get that there and then. If one of them is to possibly write out orders from existing customers, yeah, you can get that immediately. But I have to say that you should not expect to do business with new customers, if that is your objective, until you've been through the hoops. And that can take 3, 4, 5 follow-up visits, proposals, meetings post-show before someone decides to try your product or service. And that's a realistic expectation.
I mean, the biggest thing is really to plan and get some help in the planning. It's knowing what you want to do. If you don't do the business on the stand, the thing to concentrate on is selling the next meeting. Actually, that's the meeting where you'll do the business. And the main thing to remember is it's better to spend 3 or 4 minutes making a very structured and high-powered presentation on the stand, leading to a meeting later, which might last an hour or an hour and a half, than it is to try and spend an hour and a half on the stand with 1 or 2 people. It can't work. You have to get an enormous number of people through your stand and sell them the next appointment, rather than spend a long time with a few people, because the sums don't just add up. Have a laptop on the stand, enter the leads as you go, send an email out immediately thanking people for visiting the stand. That'll probably go to their Blackberries or their iPhones, and it'll bring them back to the stand. So you're actually following up really quickly, and too many people leave it till the following week, and by that time you're history. Unfortunately, people, through lack of planning and lack of thinking, are not changing at the same pace as those people who are buying and visiting shows. There are new techniques. For example, one of the things we're recommending to all our exhibitors is to take 360-degree photography of their stand and then put it on the website together with all the messages that they promoted at the show. Then use the stand through the rest of the year to take people on a virtual visit. We're also obviously advocating social media to get people to the stand in the first place. Whilst I don't ever think that virtual world will replace exhibiting, people have a need to go to a market, a bazaar, a forum, an agora. They need to communicate. There are ways of harnessing the fantastic technology that exists today to extend the reach of the exhibition, both in space and time. You could virtually do a post-exhibition webinar and take people around the virtual journey of your stand for those people you invited who didn't come. And your sales team can use that particular web visit as an unusual and original way of creating a new virtual meeting. So there's lots of things you can do, but you need to think about it. You need to do the thinking.